If you follow me on social, you know I'm currently on a mission to bring dermatologist-grade skincare into my home. I was ready to level up from red light and facials, but in-office laser treatments are so expensive and they often require downtime for your skin to recover. That's where Nira comes in. Nira is the first and only painless at-home laser that not only rivals, but transcends in-office treatment results at a fraction of the price and with no side effects. It literally sounds too good to be true, so you know I did a deep dive, and I found out that Nira's technology is award-winning, holds 17 patents worldwide, and is dermatologist-approved, clinically proven, and FDA cleared. I just started using my Nira like a month ago on my tech neck, and I've already noticed a little bit of alleviation of the fine lines and wrinkles in that area. So I'm really excited to see the final results in like 30 to 60 more days, and I will definitely keep you guys posted on my progress. What I can already say with 100% confidence is that it doesn't hurt at all, doesn't leave any redness, it's super easy to figure out, and I literally do it in 5 minutes a day. Make sure to use the link in the show notes to get your Nira device and any accompanying skincare products for 15% off. Hey guys, it's Sam, and welcome to Caps Lock, a podcast designed to help you live bigger, better, louder, and longer. Before we get started, I just want to thank you guys for listening and for giving this a chance and for coming here in pursuit of your best self. This is a space where we are going to grow together, and my hope is that it helps you go forward confidently, unapologetically, and with purpose. It's time to live your life in caps lock. If that mission feels aligned for you, hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode, and let's dive in. Today's guest is a dating expert best known for her podcast, We Met at Acme. After her ex-boyfriend dumped her on her birthday back in 2017, she had a vulnerable conversation with a guy friend about relationships. On a whim, she decided to record it and quickly realized that people needed to be having these conversations, or at least hearing them. Today, We Met at Acme has earned a cult following by talking about sex, dating, and relationships in ways we've historically only done behind closed doors, and has expanded into dating consultations, live shows, and singles events, which I wrote in here as shingles events.
That's really funny.
That's cool.
It's amazing.
Lindsey and her work have been featured in the New York Times, Vogue, Women's Health, Business Insider, The Washington Post, Good Morning America, and more. And now she's here with us to talk about the state of dating in 2025 and beyond. Please join me in welcoming to the show, Lindsey Metselaar.
Hi.
Hey, queen.
I'm obsessed with your voice. It's so funny because we were just talking about it, and I was just sitting here listening to your voice, and I was like, I would listen to any book that you read to me.
Oh my God, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what my friend was trying to tell me when I first started podcasting, and she was like, it's great that you don't have vocal fry. Now that I'm a podcaster, I realize I definitely have vocal fry, but maybe she just meant she liked the sound of my voice.
It's an amazing voice for podcasting, but you
Thanks.
also have a face for TV, so you got it all, honey.
Honored. Do you know how I got the voice?
Tell me.
I don't know if I've ever told
You
this story
practiced?
publicly. No, it's a hilarious and horrible story that went viral on TikTok like during the pandemic. My voice used to be really high and super nasal. And I had this situationship my freshman year of college who really wanted to hook up with me over like our winter term. And he had the stomach flu, but didn't tell me because he wanted to hook up. And so I woke up in the morning with him in my bed and rolled out of bed and vomited for 36 hours straight. Lost 11 pounds in like 2.5 days. And when I got to the emergency room to like get on an IV because I couldn't keep down water, they were like, yeah, we need to send you to an ENT because we think your vocal cords might be like irreparably burned from the stomach acid that you've been throwing up. And that was confirmed by the ENT. And now, like, I had this raspy voice afterwards from just being sick. It was very hoarse. And it just, like, never went away.
Wait.
Isn't that crazy?
That is, like, the craziest story of a blessing and a curse.
I know. I was like...
I mean, 11 pounds and a sexy voice.
Go.
Like, can you send me this guy's number?
Everyone on TikTok was so jealous about the 11
crazy.
pounds. I was like, I looked amazing. I sound amazing. It was great. Okay, well, let's, like... start from the beginning. There's so much I want to talk to you about, and we definitely don't even have time to do it all in one episode. But for anyone listening, the way this came about is I ran into you on the street the other day, and we like found out we're neighbors.
Well, let's talk about the first time we ever met, which was when you were doing like was it social media or marketing for
Oh my God.
yes, for the surf event.
Yeah,
in
that's so
Montauk.
crazy. I did a brief stint in marketing at Cynthia Rowley.
Yes,
I
and
was
you
like,
were
"Please
coordinating
come."
the event. You invited me, and you were the point person for all these influencers.
Yeah.
And you were so wonderful and personable and sweet. And I didn't know
Thank you.
anyone, and you made me feel really okay to be
Oh my
there.
God. You deserve to be there.
And
You killed.
thank you. Except like I don't even think I got up when I was surfing, but
Story of my life.
but then we became friends from that.
Mhm.
And then you were going on Summer House, obviously. And I was like, oh my God, that's my girl. And then you did my show
Which
in
was
the city.
so fun.
You guys were amazing.
We had
I
a
mean,
great time.
you specifically.
Thanks.
And yeah, and here we are
That's
today.
so funny. I
then we ran into
actually
each other.
forgot
Mhm.
about the surf camp thing.
Yeah.
Like I knew we were internet friends and like had run into each other, but that is exactly where we met. And the live show
Mhm.
was so fun. If
It was so
anyone
fun.
listening listens to Lindsey's podcast, go to her live shows. They're a blast. We did that with Pilot Pete.
Pilot Pete, who apparently is moving out of New York City. I'm so sad.
Why? Would anyone?
I think he's he's spreading his wings and flying.
Good for
as
him.
the pilot he is.
Go off, Pilot Pete. He's such a
Uh-huh.
good guy. Is he
Mhm.
still single?
That's a good question.
I'm gonna
I have
find
to. I have
out.
to ask him.
He was so nice. I would definitely foist someone upon him.
Oh, for sure.
Lindsey, tell me how you became a dating expert, because in my intro just now, I tell the brief story of your ex-boyfriend dumping you on your birthday, which is beyond animalistic.
Mhm.
But we all go through trials and tribulations in dating, and not all of us become famous dating experts. So what's the bridge?
Yeah. Well, the bridge was honestly that I thought in my head that I was a dating expert before this happened.
Sure.
And then was dumped on my 27th birthday. And I was like, oh, I'm very much not
Got
a
it.
dating expert.
Okay.
And this is mortifying. And then I was like, I need to learn a lot of, things
Totally.
about dating, because I obviously do not know them.
Mm.
And that's when I had the candid conversation with my guy friend. And then that led to more and more conversations with actual experts themselves, therapists, celebrities, influencers, whoever, about dating, and kind of getting to the root of why is it so hard to date in New York City, but also now like in the world.
Right.
And along the way, I learned so much and ended up finding my person, starting my family. But I became a quote unquote expert because I was like, wow, I've amassed all this information and I wish that I had it when I was actually in the field of
100%.
dating. So I need to be able to share this information, regurgitate it, and help these young women.
I love that. I think it's how a lot of people start, right? Is like you're curious about something, you want to learn something, so you go and learn it. And it's like, why are we not documenting every time someone learns something, right? Like that's what the internet's for. And I always come on here and say, like, I'm not a health expert. I'm here learning about my health, learning about my wellness, learning how to live longer, learning how to feel fulfilled and like find my purpose while I'm living that long life. And I'm not an expert, but like I'm going to go on and research everything from medical journals, and I'm going to speak to experts and doctors, and then I'm going to bring those conversations here.
Exactly. And I feel the same way. It's like I'm called an expert, but at the same time, I'm also still learning.
You're still one of us.
I'm still, figuring out how to keep things fun after having a baby. Like there's always a different stage. You never stop dating. You're always dating your partner.
Ooh, I love that. Put it on the internet. Okay, so the thing you're most famous for, I would say, is your rules. Yeah. I want to talk about how you developed them. Like, let's start there. How
in a lab.
Like test tubes.
My rules came about because of a few things, but my biggest influence for the rules was the book called The Rules from 1995.
Wait,
And
I didn't know about this.
oh yeah, it was written by two women who have now come on the podcast multiple times.
Amazing.
Love them. And they had a set of rules that was very, very traditional, and I would say teetering on not cancelable today.
Totally.
But back then, Bible for so many women.
Oh my goodness.
And my mom was one of those, like tell it how it is. Moms, you know,
Yeah.
she would put books in my room that she thought I needed to
Love.
read. Like, he's just not that into you.
Totally.
And the rules and whatever. And she was like, you need to read this. This is crazy. And so I read the rules and I was like, wow, there's a lot of good stuff here,
Mhm.
but we need to make it fresh and we need to make it palpable and not cancelable. And so I took what worked for me from the rules and I added my own rules and my own like flares throughout the years. And then I shared that with my listeners and I was like, here's, you know, my set of rules.
That's genius and so crazy and fun. What are your like, I mean, if I know there are a lot because I like, of course, read through them every time I'm like entering a new situationship or relationship or something. And I'm like, okay, so I'm like, take notes. But what would you say are like the biggest ones, your top rules?
The gist of the rules is essentially for the man to be the pursuer.
Love.
And for us to be pursued. And also for them to initiate most of that as a result.
Sure.
A big rule that has gotten a lot of controversy from it is not texting thank you after a date.
Yeah.
And people get so mad about this one. And the reality is you don't need to text thank you after a date because you've said it on the date.
Right.
So that's a big one. I think there are smaller ones like the, you know, 2-drink rule on a first date, 2-hour rule on a first date, things like that.
Why a 2-hour rule on the first date?
You know, you go on these marathon dates and sometimes they end up in marriage, but that's that's the exception, not the rule.
Totally. Because I'm queen of a marathon date.
Right.
Partly because I can't shut up and partly because I like to learn about people.
Exactly. And I've done it too. And you think that you really are finding your soulmate and then they're already sick of you because they don't even know you and you just spent 6 hours with them. And you don't hear from them and it hurts so much more.
Yeah.
There's no stakes with a 2-hour date. Even 1-hour date is better, honestly. You just get to know each other, you have fun, and you save more for later.
Yeah, I love that. I love the controversial ones. I also know about your no blowjob until, what, is it official?
I think no complete blowjob.
Yeah, no
meaning
blowjob
like,
to completion.
Yeah.
Completion.
No blowjob to completion until official. That also gets people up in arms, but I stand by it.
I actually think a blowjob is more intimate than
It's
having sex.
so intimate. And by the way, that doesn't mean you can't do a little bit
Right,
before,
a little teaser.
you know, a little teaser.
Sure.
But we don't need to be doing the entire job
Right.
unpaid.
Totally. Unpaid internships are not what we're
Literally.
pursuing at this age. Okay, that's so interesting. I also, I'm a really big fan of your no sex till date 5 or 6 rule. I have slept with someone on date 2. I've slept with someone, I haven't slept with someone through 10 dates. Like I've kind of run the gambit. And I have friends who either chronically sleep together on the first date or are like super, super withhold it for a variety of reasons. But I really like your sweet spot of 5 or 6. I really believe in that. Where'd that come from for you?
For me, that came from the idea. Well, so going back to the original rules book, theirs is not until, you know, basically you have a ring
You're
on your
engaged,
finger. Yeah.
right?
And then there's other people who have rules like Patty Stanger, for example, millionaire matchmaker. Her rule is no sex before monogamy.
Interesting. I love that for go off.
Yeah, go off. But for me, I think no sex until they have real feelings for you. And real feelings for a man dating a woman certainly are not developing before date 5. It's just lust. They just think you're hot, sexy, whatever. But they have to actually be really into your personality, something to hold on to other than the sex. And it just ruins the buildup. There's no buildup if you have sex right away. Then I actually experienced this where I had sex on, I think it was a first date, but I knew him before. And I was so turned off by the fact that we had already had sex. It was me that shut it down. I was like, oh, this is over now because we already did the thing.
Right. And like then you're not really emotionally attracted to him.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not even just like a guys will be turned off. It's like you might be turned off.
Totally. Oh, I really like that rule. I'm really into it. And let's talk quickly about your like no more than 2 drinks on a first date rule because I feel like the girlies, who is really like the audience of this pod and like especially on social too. I talk a lot about my like sober curious journey where I stopped drinking like 9 months ago now. And it accounts for like 16% of podcast traffic. So much of my audience is either interested in becoming sober or sober curious, or already is, or is just like dramatically reducing how much they're drinking and like doing other substances. And I was doing some research because I love data, as you'll learn as we go through this episode, but 39% of surveyed singles in an Axios survey said they are prioritizing sober dating in 2025. So a question I get a lot is, how do you date sober? Like, I think I know a lot of girlies who are like, have a drink while you get ready, or take a shot as you walk out the door to just like loosen up the nerves. And then a lot of the drinks, the dates themselves are like drinks or dinner and drinks. So what is your like philosophy behind dating sober? What is your advice for people who are trying to date sober?
I think you'd be very surprised as to how many guys and girls would be relieved for you to be like, oh, let's just, Diet Coke it up tonight or whatever. I don't think that people necessarily want to drink. They want to date.
Especially on a weeknight,
Correct.
by the way.
And they're drinking because they are dating and they don't feel that they have an option. So for you, as let's say the woman in the situation, to be like, I'm just going to get a seltzer tonight or a Diet Coke or whatever your non-alcoholic drink of choice is. First of all, it's hot that you can assert yourself and not just be giving in to the peer pressure of your date.
Right, like that's a boundary I have and I'm not compromising it for this.
Yeah, but two, we don't need alcohol most of the time for our personalities anymore, especially if we're not, very reliant on it. So let's find something to do that isn't just sitting at a bar and having drinks with our dates. And I think if you're sober dating, it's really fun, especially, it's getting warmer outside. Let's do an ice cream date, right? Even a coffee date. Yeah, a walk, a museum date. There's so many other options nowadays. It doesn't always have to be, let's sit at a bar and have a drink.
Yeah. How do you feel like, did you date while you were drinking and date while you were sober?
Yes.
Okay. What was the main difference that you experienced in between dating while drinking and dating sober?
Dating sober is so much better than dating while drinking because you're so clear-headed on if you like the person or not.
Oh, so true.
You are immediately like, this is an absolute no. It doesn't matter how, no amount of drinking is going to get me to like this person.
Yeah.
But if you do that amount of drinking, you're like, maybe I like this person.
Totally. I only stopped drinking like 9 months ago, and it was right when I reconnected with my current boyfriend. And so he's the first guy I've ever been in a relationship with or even really dated while I wasn't drinking. And I think the biggest shift for me was that when I was dating while drinking, I was so focused on, do they like me? Like everything about them. It was like me analyzing them and how they feel about me and like, are they having fun and all that. And then when I started dating my boyfriend and I was not drinking, I was, like you said, so much clearer on how I felt. And I was like, do I like him? Do I like how I feel around him? Like, how am I approaching this? And what is the impact it's leaving on me? And then like 2 or 3 days later, also like, how do I feel about that now having 2 days of separation from it? Versus when I was drinking, I was just so focused on them. And like, the only thing I thought about me was like, how can I be a version of myself that this person's going to like? And I
love that.
It was just a very interesting observation.
I love that you figured that out for yourself. And I'm curious, how does this relationship being like pretty much sober compared to other relationships where maybe being sober with them was like more rare?
Yeah, I would say my relationship before this, we drank together a lot, partly because we were like on TV and partying on TV and also partying outside of TV, and like we were long distance. So a lot of times like he would come visit me in New York and it would be like, let's go out and like, let's either get a drink together or go out and party with friends. And my relationship now is like so much like less about that. It's just, we don't drink. We are so fully present all the time with each other and with other people as a result of that. And I don't feel like it's really a coincidence that this is the healthiest relationship I've ever had.
That also makes me think of, relationships I've been in the past where I wasn't sober versus sober. And I urge people listening to think about relationships that they've been in or in the past. Do you like your partner more when you are drunk? Because if so, you don't like them.
Yeah, like that's a really bad
Yeah.
sign, unfortunately. And also like reflecting on why is your go-to getting drunk together? Like
Mhm.
why, if that's your best times, or also reflecting on if that's your worst times.
Right.
Like in relationships where I was drinking and the other person was drinking, also in addition to our best times being when we were drinking, our worst times were also when we were drinking.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
that's
I
not good.
was in a relationship once and we went to Ibiza together. Like it was like one of those, you
the
know?
drunkest place on earth.
Literally. And I remember I was so miserable in that relationship at that time that I had to take ecstasy
I'm crying.
to be happy
Was it
on
the
that
worst
trip
come
with
down of your
him.
entire life?
Oh my God, terrible. Terrible.
That's like walk into the
that's-
ocean in
no,
your
no,
quilt
no.
like Parker Posey.
Horrible.
level.
No, straight up.
Oh my God, that's my nightmare. And also too, like if you have any sort of anxiety about the relationship, whether it's a situationship or a real relationship, that is heightened so dramatically, I think, by the drinking and by the anxiety afterwards.
It's so true.
Like I feel like I never saw my relationship with such clarity as when I was hungover.
Mm.
I was like, oh, this is so wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not I was able to escape it is a whole other thing.
Right.
So what is your advice for dating while sober? Like, do you have any tips, tricks? Like, because I think people get anxious and nervous and like need a way to work through that.
Yeah, and I think it's normal to get anxious and nervous because dating sober can be scary. But try to keep in mind what I said about like you'd be surprised how the other person feels about it. If you want to do it and you say, hey, I'm not going to drink tonight, and they're like, well, you're a fucking loser, then that's not your person.
Totally.
And that person needs to examine their relationship to alcohol
100%.
for sure. You know, so right there and then you almost have your answer. You can weed out the bad people. But I think, especially if you're meeting on a dating app, let's say, you know, a question I get a lot is, should I put I'm not drinking on my app? You know, should I like whatever? And I say no, just, you know, match with the person. If you get to a place where they ask you out and they're suggesting, you know, would you want to go to McConnell's bar?
Sure.
Then you have two options. You can either be like, I'm not drinking right now, but I would love to grab a Diet Coke with you there or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or you say, like transparently not drinking at the moment. Would you be down for a walk instead or an ice cream instead, or give another option? And just like give people a chance to respond. You don't, you know, come up with the story of, oh, they're going to hate me, this and that in your head. You just don't know.
Right. I love that. So that is a huge topic for my audience, but another one is the screens and the social and the tech of it all. And I do a lot of like data listening in this show to see what people want to hear about and what people engage with, just because you can ask someone what they want to hear, but the truth is sometimes people don't even know until they reflect on like their habits and what they are engaging with, what they're seeking out in their content. And literally my two top episodes are about my sober curious journey and like my tips for living a sober curious life. And then the next one was like how to reduce your screen time and stop doom scrolling and how it affects your relationships. And so I was reading on Forbes Health, they did like a collab with OnePoll, and they surveyed adults 18 and older about all the things like dating, relationships. The top way that adults have met people to go on dates with was dating apps. 45% of respondents said they met people to go on dates with that way. 26% said they met people through online video games, which I was mind blown by. And 27% of respondents cited social media as how they've met people to go on dates with. So in total, that's a whopping 98% of respondents who confirm they've met people to date online. So obviously the apps are good for like access to people. I want to ask you, because you're the expert, how can we build our online profiles for like maybe dating apps, but also like our online social identities to like increase our likelihood of dating success? Like whether that's the photos we use or the prompts we respond to or the messages we spend, like what's your advice for that?
I think
I used to be the queen of searching my symptoms on the internet and going down a rabbit hole of terminal illnesses that I definitely didn't have, but would then lie awake worrying about for weeks. As I reinforced that habit time and time again, the line started to blur between when I should or shouldn't take a symptom seriously. I mean, even if your symptoms match up with a diagnosis on the internet, everyone experiences health issues differently. So there's no way to know if you've got the same thing as that girl on TikTok. But now I know that knowledge is power, so I'd rather see a doctor right away to either soothe my unfounded concerns or get the care I need. And that is where ZocDoc comes in. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. I've used ZocDoc to find all my medical doctors, and it has been a total game changer because I used to have so much trouble finding the overlap between who's a good fit for me, who takes my insurance, and who's available to see me. So take back the power, stop putting off those doctor's appointments, and go to ZocDoc.com/capslock to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/capslock. ZocDoc.com/capslock.
You can't have a profile, whether it's on social media or a dating app, that's just photos of yourself. You have to diversify. So a photo with your family, a photo with your friends, obviously a photo with you to see who you are, but diversify. I think you need the perfect mix of being real and giving them something that's actually information about yourself versus also being funny, you know? Like you need the mix of everything. Like the perfect profile is like photo of yourself, funny thing, photo with your friends, real thing, photo with your family, something for them to respond to.
Totally. I think that's so smart. I feel like I was showing someone the other day a pic of one of my girlfriends who's single, and he was like, I literally don't know what her face looks like because every picture is like sunglasses, group pic, far away, obscured, like food pic, right? And she was like, wait, my Instagram is so cute though. And I was like, yeah, but no one knows what you look like. And she's like, not on the app. So I was like, we either need to add photos of your face here or put together a dating profile.
Yeah.
I think that's so smart. I also feel like there are a lot of ways that tech has influenced the dating landscape. And so there are some that I want to talk about, but do you have any in mind that are like major influences? Like what are the ways tech has changed it?
Well, I'm still shook about the video game thing. That's crazy. Like what women are playing video games?
Beats me. None of my friends, like none of us are, and also none of us date guys who play video games.
Right.
So like
same.
I have no idea, but I do think there's a huge community there, and I'm not sure because it wasn't clear based on the research whether that was like VR type stuff,
right,
or like games where you have like a headset or what. But just the fact that I think the internet is giving us access to people all over the world and people who we might not run into on a normal basis is kind of mind-blowing. Like I've been in long-distance relationships. I've met all of my serious relationships in person. Like I've never met someone on a dating app who I went on to have a relationship with.
Interesting. Did you ever try though?
Yeah. I was on the apps for, I would say like 3 years. And I would go on dates, like totally. And there one or two guys I probably went on double-digit number of dates with, but never pursued an actual relationship with them. So I'm really like not plugged into the online dating world the way I think some people are. Even Steven didn't meet online, right?
We didn't meet online, but I did meet someone online that I had like an almost 2-year relationship with. It's interesting. It kind of depends what you're looking for. I feel like my friends who met their partners on dating apps were looking for someone outside of our scene. And so if you're looking for someone very different, from a different background, from a different country, a different, then dating apps are great for you. But if you're open to seeing someone that you might already be connected to in some way, then I don't know that you need a dating app.
Yeah.
But sometimes you do to connect you to that person.
Totally. That's a good point.
You see people on dating apps.
All the time. Before my boyfriend and I started dating, we matched on Raya, kind of like a wink nod. Like you see someone you match with them. And we were kind of like, oh, we should totally.
Right. It's a good way to get consent that you're both interested. Together. Yeah.
That's such a good point. And someone told me, I don't even know if this is true. Someone told me that Hinge is called Hinge because you have something in common with the person you match with.
Well, Hinge. Hinge used to be just mutual friends.
That's so brilliant.
So like just friends of friends, rather. So they totally redid it, but before that it was you could only actually match with someone who was we're friends, who was your friend, let's say.
Wow, that's genius. And I actually really like that theory because all of my serious boyfriends, every single one, I had a mutual friend with, and that's how we like met and started dating.
It's crazy.
It
I mean,
is.
that I feel like is what makes a good relationship, is having something in common, and a friend in common is the best thing you can have.
Yeah, I agree. Do you feel like dating apps, social media, internet, communications, all of that, do you feel like that's interfering with people's ability to socialize or like communicate or even just like have hard conversations in relationships? I feel like we're also used to hiding behind our screens now. Like I know a lot of people who are like, I forget how to flirt in real life.
The screens are definitely a problem, but I don't think it's the dating apps that are a problem. I think it was COVID that was the problem that made all of us kind of awkward.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, yeah, we can get away with not going out now and still meeting people. So that's a good thing and a bad thing, depending on the person.
Sword.
Yeah.
Totally. Do you feel like, I guess this one's really more about social media in particular. Do you feel like it has affected people's interest in commitment? I had a friend recently describe it to me as, you know, when you go to like a diner and there's pictures of the food. She was like, men especially have this like visual menu of women constantly at their fingertips to like scroll through and choose from. And she was like, I think women feel more attainable on the internet than they do in real life. Like if you see a beautiful girl on the internet, a man might be more likely to approach her online versus like if he saw her in a bar, he might like never go talk to her.
Definitely, which is another good thing and bad thing.
Yeah, great point.
What is your friend's take on the food at the restaurant? When you see the food in
You want it
pictures, do you
more.
want it more?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
She was like, or not even that you want it more, but you're better able to decide if you want it. So like if you're looking at a picture of a BLT and a picture of an omelet, seeing it,
you're going to want the BLT for sure.
I mean, totally,
Yeah.
at all times. But like, she was like, if you are able to look at both choices, it's easier to make it. That's like why people use Yelp, right? Or like go on food blogs, because if I can see both options, I'm like, oh, that one looks more appealing to me versus just like thinking of an abstract idea in your head.
Yeah.
So she was like, you know, having this menu of options makes men, I don't know, like approach a woman more. But also like, I think she was also saying in the context of like, she's in a relationship and she was like, I'm kind of insecure about how my boyfriend's always looking at Instagram and has this like unlimited access to other women and what they look like and what they're doing and their highlight reels and their edited photos and their like sexy Instagram story selfies. She was like, it's like a never ending revolving door of women to choose from.
I don't think, and maybe I'm being naive, but I don't think that men have changed in terms of all of a sudden they realize there are other women.
Right, like the commitment issues were always there, the options were always there.
Like, men historically were always looking at other women. Before there was even technology, they were checking women out who walked by them. So they're always able to see that there are other women and other options. You just need to find a good man.
Yeah, one who's not distracted by them.
Yeah,
fair.
or that admits that they're distracted by them but still wants you.
Yeah, fair. Okay, can we talk about AI?
Yes.
It's so everywhere and it's so scary. There are like so many different camps here. I guess let's start with the way women are using AI to date. I have a friend who was like, I literally was texting this new guy, and at the same time I was texting him, I was talking to ChatGPT about how to respond and how to read into his text messages.
Oh no.
And like what's a good flirty thing to say back that doesn't seem desperate. And I was like shook and rattled by that because I have never even thought that anyone was doing that.
I am so curious what advice ChatGPT was giving.
We should do an episode where we just test it.
I need to know because there is no chance that ChatGPT is giving like really good banter.
Right. Or even just like good advice and like there's no way the internet can read into someone else's responses.
Right. Like I can't imagine they would be saying anything that isn't super robotic. Like, that's so silly. Ha ha ha.
Right. But get this. So right after I had that conversation with my friend, I was scrolling on TikTok and this girl had posted a video like, if anyone saw the way I use ChatGPT to date, like I would have to KMS, I would have to unalive because it's so embarrassing. And hundreds of thousands of comments, of likes, people engaging, being like, same. Like I use ChatGPT to date.
I need more information.
Me too. I think we should deep dive on this and do a whole other conversation on it. But then on the other side of it, there's people having like fully friendships, relationships with bots and AI. That's terrifying to me. That has to be just extreme cases.
Yeah, no, that's incel territory. But I feel like I need to ask a poll question about if people are actually using AI today because I'm so curious.
Ask a poll question. I'll be interested. I feel like if the majority or even if a large percentage of people say, yes, I use ChatGPT to like text guys or to like approach to read into like what they're saying or how they're feeling or like ask for advice, then I feel like there's a lot of follow-up that can be done on that.
I wish ChatGPT would just be like, if you're asking me this, he's not the one for you.
That's so true. Which really speaks back to, I feel like the quote that I associate with like your like rise,
if you're
which
confused,
is if you're confused,
he's not interested.
He's not interested. I literally, that's Bible to me. Like I say that to my friends. Same. I say it to myself in the mirror. Like,
same. I say it still, and I'm married.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm like, oh, he confused me today. So
yeah, he's not into me. 100%. Well, the other kind of, I feel like this is an interesting segue too from the tech is not just easy access to women you know or like, you know, hot models on the internet, but I feel like there is this rise in porn and access to porn adjacent content on the internet, whether that's like Instagram models who are like, maybe they're not even doing OnlyFans, but they like are giving that vibe. There's a lot of research to suggest that porn ruins relationships, right? But what is your take on like just forever access to Instagram models who I think we all associate with OnlyFans and like how that affects relationships?
I think, again, if your partner is sus, they're going to be sus regardless of how much access they have now.
Yeah.
And I think I'm all about porn in a relationship or not. It's just, you know, if you have your gorgeous girlfriend sitting on the bed and you're choosing porn, that's one thing. Yeah. But if, you know, they're away for the weekend and you're watching porn, who cares?
Yeah,
you know?
like it's not a personal attack. It's not about them.
No,
it's just,
you need to be able to be intimate with yourself.
Yeah. I feel like where porn becomes an issue is if someone's keeping a secret or like the trust is being undermined somehow, whether it's like you're not sharing that you're doing it or you're doing it a lot and you have this like guilt with it. I feel like that's where the problem comes in.
Yeah, and not to blame women because men can be like this too, but if you're creating a hostile environment around porn and things like that, then you're going to have a tiptoeing partner who's not going to feel comfortable telling you. Like I remember I dated someone who wouldn't let me masturbate.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, like it was really crazy.
Like why? Because that's like cheating on him?
He was just offended. Like if I wanted to do it and he was there, like if he didn't want to have sex and I was like, okay, well then like I'll
be right back.
You know?
Yeah.
Like because honestly, because it helps me go to sleep.
Sure.
And he
that is
was
like science. Like
yeah.
An orgasm helps you go to sleep.
Yeah. And he was like, no, that's disrespectful. I was like,
that is
nuts.
Insane. Especially if he's sitting there being like, oh, not tonight.
Right.
It's one thing if he's like, wait, I want to have sex with you. Let's just have sex. But like he just didn't want you to do it ever.
Yeah.
That's psychotic, I think.
It was really weird.
Yeah, I hate him. So what's the bottom line for you with like tech and dating in your opinion? Net positive? Net bad?
I think net positive. I really do. But you know, you have to use it for good, not for evil.
Yeah, you have to like use judgment when you're using it. Right. And also like use, I guess, your best judgment with approaching your partner and how they use it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're a full-grown adult, then you should be able to be on technology and it not ruin your life. I hope.
Totally agree. I think something too that's interesting, that's like a good, of course, everyone's personal boundaries are different, but like recently I was hanging out with my boyfriend and he was on his explore page and it was all like golf videos and like those videos that are like, which cat is your girlfriend? And like shit like that. And I was kind of laughing. I was like, you know, that's so funny because my last boyfriend, his explore page is all like girls' asses and stuff like that. And I felt so yucky about it, but I didn't want to be like controlling or overbearing. So I didn't like say anything. But my boyfriend is all like golf videos. And he was like, you know, you'd be shocked at the number of like married people I know whose explore pages are all like tits.
Yeah, but at the same time, we don't really know how that works. Like, for example, I
Fair.
liked a video once of a girl telling me what she eats in a day. And now my whole explore page
Everything.
is what I eat in a day. I eat nothing. I eat this one bean and I'm so skinny. And I'm like, wait, I don't want this
You're
content.
like, I'm not pro Anna.
We are missing the mark here. So
Interesting.
that's the one thing I'm like, okay, well, maybe they saw one Sports Illustrated video and they liked it because it's like Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, like I'm liking that.
Yeah. And now this is what they're getting and they're looking at it. They're not even interacting with it, but they're clicking it.
This is
and
a
that's
good
enough.
take to hear from a woman because I feel like, and maybe this is like signifier of the larger kind of culture, is like, I feel like as women, sure, there's, when someone is being sus, right? And so you can use your judgment to figure out like where's the line. But I feel like there's such negative sentiment coming from women about men on the internet lately. And it's all like, I'll always choose the bear and like all this stuff, which like, listen, the thing that came out of all that for me is like, not all men, but always a man.
Yes. Wait, what's I'll always choose the bear?
Oh, it's like, would you rather be, I think it's like, would you rather be, like, if you're lost in a forest or something, like, would you rather be stuck alone in the woods with a random man, or a bear?
A random man. And so I don't know what they're like.
Would you feel safer with a man or a bear? And every woman is like the bear. Wait, have you not heard of this?
No.
Wait, this is very funny to me. Okay,
you have to send it to me.
What's your answer?
It sucks because I don't know if it's like Andrew Tate or not.
That's the problem is like the majority of strange men, would you feel safe alone in the woods with them? No. So a lot of women are like, the bear's not hurting me. Like the bear's probably going to mind its own fucking business, but the man is almost never going to mind his own fucking business.
Right.
And so like that, right, is controversial because I have a lot of men in my life who I trust and love, and I'm very lucky to have that. But the thing that came out of it for me that I actually kind of subscribe to is like, it's not all men, but it's always a man. When a woman's not feeling safe on the train, it's not because there's another woman on the train with her, right? And that has always been interesting to me. But anyway, I think the bear conversation and like this conversation at large is indicative of like every time I go online and it's a story time, it's like, here's why men ain't shit. And I think there's a line between women empowerment and like shitting on and hating men. And so I just think that's interesting. I don't know when we got into this.
No. I don't either, but I think it went to an interesting place. And I don't know. I wonder the chicken or the egg. Like, is it women going online talking about how men ain't shit that made even more incels? Or was it all the incels that made the women come on and say that men ain't shit?
Have you ever done a deep dive on the incel stuff? Like, have you ever looked at the forums?
No, I'm so scared. I don't need to because some of my videos, they're in the comments.
Sure.
And like that's a forum in itself. There's one actually that I'm sitting on this couch with Amanda from Not Skinny But Not Fat. And we're talking about how our husbands have really skinny legs and we're jealous. And it went viral somehow. And all of these men are so abusive in the comments. So abusive.
What are they saying?
It ranges from like these twos are talking about their, or like I got a comment today because that video continues to go viral for some reason that says, because of this video, I'm going to make my son watch 10 hours of Andrew Tate.
Oh, man. The men are not okay.
And I actually never respond to them because I just like do a giggle and go on my way because I'm like, these people are so unwell.
Yeah.
And I responded to that one today because I clicked his profile, which is public, and I saw pictures of his son, who is so cute. And I said, are you really writing this publicly? Like, are you sure?
Oh, that's so shameful.
It was so bad.
Shameful.
It was so bad.
Yeah, I watched Adolescence on Netflix, which I highly recommend.
I need to watch it.
I've actually read a lot because you have a baby boy, right?
Yes.
Sweet angel. I've read a lot saying like moms of boys should watch this just because, not to spoil anything, but like parents can do everything to keep their kids safe. And it's like they have unchecked access to the internet. And it's like what is on the internet is not within our control. And like these kids see it and it can do horrible things. But after watching it, I went and like looked at incel forums just because I was curious. You don't even have to make an account. They're just like publicly on the internet. And the one I looked at, like all the users are anonymous. But they have like avatars like that they can use, and then they have like a little sort of like status. And this one that was like commenting a lot was like said the name of like some girl who was murdered by an incel, and it was like she got what was coming to her. And like I researched the case, the girl literally did nothing. She just got murdered by an incel. And so like that kind of stuff is so scary to me. And so I do think like there's so much positive with internet and dating, and then there's that side of it that's so dark.
That side is so dark. I'm so curious, without spoiling the show, like how did this child end up seeing this incel stuff? Because I feel like in the 90s even, we had access to the internet when we were growing up, or I know you're younger than me, but I had access to a desktop computer.
Yeah.
And the worst thing that I could see probably on there was porn.
Yeah.
But there was no, I guess it was before YouTube.
I think a lot of like these incel forums, I don't know that they're like new. This is like uninformed opinion, but I feel like I also had like a computer not in the 90s because I was literally 3, but like early 2000s. I had a computer. I honestly just don't think the internet was that developed yet. People weren't using it this way. Now we are like have so much we have access to like the deepest, darkest corners of people's brains. And I honestly feel like back then people didn't use computers that way. People were not like dumping every single thing in their brain on the internet.
Yeah.
And I think people also had more shame, honestly. And now like everyone has access to everything. So there's just less hiding almost, which is so like in some ways good, in some ways bad. But in the show, it wasn't even that the kid was like reading incel ideology. It's that other kids were like calling him an incel because he was like 13 in the show. Like he's a virgin, obviously. But people were like, oh, like you virgin, you incel. And people were like bullying him with that. And he like snapped. And it's not even that he was like watching Andrew Tate and like adopting the ideologies. It's that other kids were. And they were like cyberbullying him. And it's really upsetting because it's like that kid was not even going out seeking misogynistic, like Andrew Tate red pill stuff.
Yeah.
It still found him. And then they
That's
were
so
using the internet to
crazy
just bully him.
And I'm going to start it tonight, but I just can't imagine kids, like I can't imagine bullying is at there now.
Yeah.
Like bullying is always like, you're fat, you're ugly, or that guy doesn't like you. But I don't even think, as far as I know, kids are not even emotionally intelligent enough or even intelligent enough, have enough words to say something like incel. So the fact that they do now is terrifying.
I know. I think it's just like the whole kind of bottom line, I think, on the show is like, you can protect your kids so much, and you think they're safe behind closed doors in your house, right? Nothing can get them there.
Yeah.
But it's the computer that's the real danger. It's really freaky. I'll be interested to hear what you think after you watch it.
Yeah, I might have to do a whole episode on it.
I know. I think it would be really interesting. Okay, let's talk about, let's like leave that behind. It's very dark and I can't keep doing it. Honestly, I'll have nightmares.
I can't sleep.
I want to talk about like a shift in dating trends. Sidebar for a sec, it's Mother's Day season, which personally I celebrate all year round because moms deserve way more than just a day. And I wanted to take a minute today to thank all the moms out there for everything they do for us, especially my mom, because there is no me without you. Function Health just released a book called Long Live Moms as a reminder that moms need to take care of themselves too. I really loved this excerpt from the book, so I'm just going to read you a quick piece of it. Moms know sacrifice, love stitched tight. They toil, the grit, the sleepless nights. They hold the world yet stand unseen, the quiet force in between. The keepers of the scraped up knees, the magic hands that calm the seas. But wise are moms who pause, who see that caring starts with caring for me. A body strong, a breath drawn deep, a heart that beats, a soul to keep. The years move fast, yet love remains, a bond unbroken, thread through veins. So long live the ones who teach us how to love ourselves, to live well now. Long live the hearts, the wisdom, the care. Long live moms everywhere. If you are a mom or have a mother figure in your life, I'm sure this poem resonates. I feel like it's such a powerful reflection of the sacrifices a mother makes and the love and joy they bring into the world. I literally had to record this twice because I got choked up reading it the first time. If you don't know Function Health, it's an all-in-one health platform that helps you take control of your health through data. Instead of guessing what's happening inside your body, Function helps you know for sure, providing access to 100+ advanced lab tests. These tests include insights into thyroid function, hormones, liver health, heart health, autoimmunity, kidney function, nutrient levels, heavy metal toxicity, immune system, electrolytes, and more. With Function, your first set of tests helps establish a baseline of your health, giving you a starting point to compare future tests against. This makes it easy to spot changes, even subtle ones, and address them proactively. For all my moms out there, Function Health is the best way to care for you so you can continue to care for them. Get Function Health's Long Live Moms book for free at functionhealth.com/capslock and learn more about how Function Health can help you take better care of you. That's functionhealth.com/capslock. Because I think there were two kind of big narratives in 2024 that have shifted in 2025 a little bit. 2024, there were a lot of girly pops prioritizing themselves. They're like, I'm not even actually going to pursue dating right now. Like, I need to work on me. I need to date myself. I need to love who I am and be the best version of myself. And then there was the second thing happening where people were like dating for the plot, right? And they were like, you know what? Don't say no to anything. Keep your mind open. Do crazy shit because who knows? Like anything could happen. And while those two things don't directly kind of support with intentionality, like finding the one, I think they kind of indirectly support it, right? Because you have to like be a version of yourself that you would want to date and in order to find the one. And you also have to like keep your mind open to opportunities to find the one. But what I think is interesting is like looking at a lot of data and a lot of trend reporting among either like survey and polling companies or also like dating companies, like Bumble does research every year. It looks like there's a major shift in 2025 where people are actually actively pursuing the one and like really dating with like such deliberate and intentional goals in mind. And like, you know, they're not going on the second date if they don't feel the spark on the first date. And they're, you know, not wasting their time on dead ends or situationships, that kind of thing. So it almost kind of felt like we just had our healing and growing era. And now we're like taking what we learned and applying it sort of. So do you feel like that is accurate? Like I was reading a lot of articles about that, but I'm curious to see like you're very boots on the ground with the community. So I want to know if you feel like it's accurate. And I don't know, like do you think maybe I'm just seeing more of it because I'm 27 and that's like the age I feel like it really starts? Or do you think it's a cultural shift?
I think a mix, but I think that it is an age thing. I think you get to an age where you're like, I don't need a situationship. I don't need something that isn't the thing for me because I know what I want now and I'm going through my Saturn return and I'm knowing myself and fuck everything that isn't what I want at this point, you know?
Yeah, that's so real. I feel like I felt that with age. I also think in this process of like pursuing our personal growth, we have learned a lot of therapy speak, right? We've learned about like gaslighting and narcissism, and we use those words a lot. We are much more aware and knowledgeable about things like love languages and attachment styles. And I feel like all of it is talked about a lot. So I want to ask your opinion on them. Like love languages, for example, are very controversial. Do you believe in them? How should we be like communicating about them? How should we, you know, be using them in our love lives?
I do think that they're important. I feel like it depends on your love language, though. Like, for example, the people I know whose love language is quality time, that is so important to them.
Yeah.
Okay? Like,
Yeah.
insanely important to them. But everyone else is kind of like, okay, you know, like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I don't think it's so important. I don't think it's something to live by. I think obviously it's great to know your partner's love language, but it's more important to have good communication with them and be able to say if you like something or don't like something. Mine is acts of service. So
giving or receiving or both?
Maybe both.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I really like it when my partner takes down the boxes or takes out the trash, whatever it is. I need those things. And Steven, my husband's who says hi, by the way, he loves you.
Oh my God. Tell me
is physical touch.
Oh, interesting.
And so it's funny, I was actually watching a video that I was served on my Instagram today where actually Erin from Real Housewives, who I love, was talking to her husband about his language is physical touch too. And like as they've gotten older and have like a million kids and whatever, she just like isn't in the mood to physically touch him. But she like grazed his hand the other day, and like it was such a big deal to him. And I laughed
cute.
because like I used to always be touching Steven and giving him scratchies and this and that.
Yeah.
And now like when I touch the back of his neck while he's driving for 2 seconds, he's like, oh my, that was amazing.
Oh my God,
like,
that's so cute.
But like it's the bare minimum now,
Yes,
because it just like changes as things get older. So you have to, as like your relationship gets deeper, so you have to remember those little things.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's, if you don't know their love language, you can't go on and you can't go further.
Yeah.
What is your and your partner's love language?
We both are very like quality time acts of service. But I would say on like an almost subconscious level, I'm also physical touch. I used to think that was my first one because I'm very affectionate physically too, like even in a non-sexual way even. Like I love to hold hands. I love to scratchies. I love to just like, and like I feel so loved and like I feel like someone's proud of me if they like have their hand on my back in public, like that kind of thing. But it's funny because I said to my boyfriend one time, I was like talking about how I love physical touch and like we're both so affectionate with each other. And he's like, I'm actually like really not physical touch. And I was like, wait, you don't like it? And he's like, no, I'm only physical touch with you. He's like, I don't really like, I'm not really touchy with anyone else in my life. And I haven't been really in the past. And I was like, that's insane. You literally, we're both always like holding hands, like sitting there, like doing nothing. I also feel like a lot of men are physical touch.
A lot.
Which like a disproportionate amount.
Right. Well, I think men, like no one's touching them. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
literally.
Like, we are touching our best girlfriends all the time.
Yes.
And no one touches a man.
That's such a good point. Like they actually crave it. Sweet
like
things.
they're desperate. They're dying to be touched.
That's so interesting though. Like I feel like that's a good point is like remembering and like refocusing on like what your partner's love language is as you get older because so much changes, right? Like how long have you and Steven been together?
It's like almost 6 years now, which is
a long
fucking
time.
nuts because I feel like I met him yesterday.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute. But it's like, so you go through so much together and you have unlimited time together because you're going to be together forever, right? And then you have like a baby, right? So much changes. That's like such a simple thing that you can come back to
yeah, no,
like,
it's true.
Keep it alive. I love that. And what about attachment styles? Do you have an attachment style or are you secure, like a healthy, normal person?
I'm probably secure now, but I've been avoidant in the past.
You are avoidant. This is great for me because I'm anxious. So I love to hear. I love to hear the opposite side.
Yeah, I've been avoidant. I was never really anxious, which is so funny because I have so many other issues. But that was
crying.
But that was never
like,
one
the
of them.
least of my concerns.
Literally.
Well, it's funny because I had a very like healthy relationship with both my parents growing up. Like we're all very affectionate. We're not yellers. We don't fight. Like I really have had this like total blessing of a super healthy family dynamic. And so people are like, why are you anxious attached? And I'm like, because my first boyfriend fucked me up so bad.
Yeah, it's always that. It's always
Yeah.
that. And by the way, my first boyfriend fucked me up so badly too.
Is that where your avoidant comes from?
But you can react one of two ways. You can either get anxious or you can get avoidant
Totally.
from it, And I just went the other way.
That's so interesting.
Like my wall just went up.
So you were just like very closed off.
Yeah.
When you were afraid of intimacy.
I was just like, I just don't want to like stare into your eyes. I'm good.
God, I almost wish I would rather be that than the anxious kind where you're like, look at me.
That's
like,
really funny.
That's the version I got.
Like it's a lose-lose to be either of those,
Yeah. What do you think? How do you think you went to like secure attachment style? Do you think it was like a combo of your responsibility and Steven's responsibility?
Yeah, I think it's a mixed bag. I think it's having confrontation with your new partner or whatever, like bringing things up as they arise, in that moment, like confronting situations that don't feel good and getting to a place where you feel secure because you weren't afraid to talk about those things. And I think also Steven has never been anything but secure. And so that obviously helped.
Yeah. Men really get that a lot of times, don't they? I don't know how. Maybe they just like care less about everything their whole lives. And
they just don't think as much as we do, probably.
Because like every woman I know is like, oh, I'm either anxious or avoidant attached. And guys are like, what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
exactly.
I'm fine, actually. So with that in mind, I do want to talk quickly about situationships because I feel like that is like the biggest. Every single person I know is either in one or has had one or is like worried they're going to perpetually be a situationship person and not make it into a relationship ever. How are we avoiding situationships? Because I feel like we can all agree the only good thing that ever comes out of them is like maybe the personal growth at the end. But like,
Yeah.
I think everyone's tired of the trope of like, well, at least you learned something. Like, I don't want to learn something that way
No.
anymore.
Mm-mm.
How do you avoid one?
You avoid them by not letting it go past 3 months if you're not official by then. Straight up.
Okay, that was the easiest answer I've ever heard in my life. Great point. Great point. What if, and so if they haven't made it official, do you pursue the conversation or you're just like, I'm out because we're not official?
I think you're just like, I can tell that we want different things. And if they're like, why? And then you're like, because I wanted a relationship and you
and we're
obviously
3 months in
don't.
and you're
Yeah.
not asking.
And
for
then
one or
that's their
interested.
opportunity to be like, no, I do.
Mhm.
I
And you
thought
don't
that
feel like
you were
that's
my
like
girlfriend. Like, yeah.
I mean, the win might be a little bit less rewarding if that's like the way it happens, but you don't feel like that's like necessarily a terrible sign.
No, it's a horrible sign.
Oh,
It's a horrible sign.
Got it,
Like
got
you're
it.
having that conversation ready to walk.
Got it.
You know?
Yeah, I think that's right. I
Yeah.
think so too. Because that was like how my last relationship went, except it was like literally like 9 months in. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? It was the emptiest win ever. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
a win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you know. I also feel like at this age, you know more.
Yeah, totally.
Then-
And just like, not that you don't know this, but like you were the prize in that relationship.
Yeah.
Like,
but also
obviously.
like
It's
anyone
so
would have been because of the way I was being treated.
Well,
Anyone in my
that, yeah,
position.
but like you are just like, you had always deserved so much better. And I remember when you came to my show with him, my parents and my in-laws were there and they were obsessed with you. And they
Oh my
were like,
God.
oh my God, like
They were
Sam
so nice.
is like 10 out of 10. She's beautiful. She has an amazing personality. Like, what is she doing with that guy?
Crying. I feel like it's always though, we're always saying that to women.
Mhm.
Like, why are we settling for so little for so long?
Mhm.
I don't know what that is, and it's hard to answer. That's not.
Well, I
like, a
think for
one-liner.
you were young and like,
Yes.
you know, and you were like wrapped up in like the fun that was attached to it and whatever, you know, like
I also like doing the whole television thing was like not really aligned with who I am. I think in the
Right.
forever
Mhm.
landscape, like the thing about it that was aligned with who I am is that I don't really say no to things, to like
Yeah.
fun opportunities.
Yeah.
I'm adventurous. So that's the thing about it that was aligned. But like the rest of it, I didn't really feel like I was like, especially looking back on it. I think when you're in it, it's so easy to be like, this is so cool. I'm meant for this. Like, this is amazing.
Mhm.
And then you step back from it and you're like, that was the least mentally healthy I've ever been.
Right, exactly.
So I feel like that's part of it too, probably.
Mhm.
So what are some things we should be doing to like set ourselves up to find our person? Like how do we work on ourselves to put ourselves in the right position so that when the opportunity comes, we're ready for it?
I think therapy is a must. If you've never done it, you should do it. Just get self-aware, as self-aware as you can be.
Mhm.
And also have your life in a place where you love it, whether or not someone walks in or not.
Mm.
So, for example, you create a space that you love. It doesn't even need to be like your alone space. You could have a roommate, whatever, but create that space where you live that you love.
Mm.
That's like clean and makes you happy and whatever, like
Mhm.
just has good vibes, good energy. Do something, be aligned in your career with something that you love, whether it's, you know, your corporate job because you actually love it or your passion project. And it doesn't matter to you if you make money or whatever the hell you're doing.
Right.
Love it. And tell yourself that you deserve what you're giving. But make sure you're aware of what you're giving. Because if it ain't shit, then you don't deserve shit.
Right,
You know, like what are
totally.
you bringing to the table?
Yeah.
Because that's what you deserve back.
Also, I feel like sometimes, and like to be self-aware and like hold ourselves accountable, sometimes we have really high expectations of what that partner is going to look like. And then we do some self-reflection and realize like, oh, like
I'm
I don't
ugly.
have that. Yeah,
I'm
I'm
just kidding.
hideous. I can't have a 10. But seriously, like I think about, there was a time in my life when I was feeling really lost about my career and like was not feeling ambitious as a result of it. But ambition is like literally number 1 or 2 on my list because I am so attracted to someone being passionate about what they're doing. And I had that like super high expectation where I was like, you need to love what you're doing. And then looking back, I was like, wow, I was really like not giving that myself. So I feel like that's important too, probably.
So important. So important. And obviously make the list of wants versus needs. Like that's, you know, that's really a good manifestation exercise. But you can't manifest if you're just like sitting, being nothing and doing nothing, you know?
You need to have purpose and direction and independence too.
Mm-hmm.
In this same vein, I feel like we're like making this progression from like setting ourselves up for our person, meeting our person, ending up with our person. So one of your things that you talk about a lot on the pod and on social is like girlfriend boyfriend privileges or like partner privileges, which escalate, by the way, from girlfriend privileges to like wife privileges and also like partner privileges, right? So what are some example of these privileges and like the levels of them?
Well, some of it is the very obvious ones, like don't do your partner's laundry if, you don't live with them.
Totes.
Like don't, like it goes back to, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free, which is
Right.
the worst. It's honestly an incel quote now that I hate.
Yeah, totally.
But you get the gist.
Yeah, it's the same as like look at the cow. Like, it's like if you want the calf, look at the cow because it's like to see how your partner's going to age. Have you heard that one?
Oh, no, but it makes sense because men are obsessed with our moms.
Yeah, and it's like, like
and how
mom's
they look.
hot, so you're going to be hot. Yeah, same thing. Okay, so.
But no, it's just, I actually have a whole episode on it, so you should listen to it if you're listening to this. But it's, it's the laundry thing, or it's the, don't invite them to your family wedding, or don't don't have sleepovers every night unless you're at a certain level with them. Don't talk about your future with them if you're not engaged. Like that's so cringe,
Right.
Just little things, and it always goes back to the rules of just like let them lead.
Yeah.
Don't give them what they don't deserve.
Yeah, I feel like that is everything is easier said than done sometimes, right? Like I think there are definitely times when it feels so natural to like do XYZ.
Right.
For example,
like don't meal prep for them.
Right. Like maybe you feel like inclined to because maybe you're like obsessed with them, but you would be their girlfriend if they were obsessed with you.
Totally.
Right? So like
Totally.
if it feels natural to you and you're not actually getting the title back, there's just a lack of reciprocity.
Exactly. Do not get them a gift before you're official. Do not do it,
No
ladies.
gifts before official?
No gifts.
Are there any exceptions? Like
no.
I'm crying.
No.
They don't deserve
I don't care if it's
that.
their like biggest birthday ever.
That's a really
no gift.
I actually really dig that. Like, what kind of investment are you making in them if they're not even invested enough to call you something different?
Correct.
That's crazy. Wow. I feel like every time we talk, I find clarity on something from my past. And I'm like, shit, I really wish we were having this conversation 3 years ago. So what are some signs that like this person is the one? Like, how do you, some people say when you know, and then other people are like, I actually didn't. Like, I had to like date other people at the same time and like uncover kind of layers. So like, what are some things to look out for? Like, how do you know you're with the one?
For me, it was more of a when you know, but I think you know because you feel lucky to be with them and they feel lucky to be with you, but they're like a little more lucky.
Yeah, they like you a little more than you like them. I feel like people with anxious attachment styles would be like, but I never feel secure. But I will say, as like the most anxious attached, my boyfriend has made me feel so like wanted, and like I've never worried if he wanted to be in the relationship. I definitely got in my head in the beginning a couple times where I was like, are we on the same page? Like, are we feeling the same way? Partly, I think, because I was like traumatized from prior relationships and wanted like overly transparent communication. But like, I've always really felt like he wanted to be with me, and that felt really good. Were you ever like avoidant with Steven, or were you always immediately like comfortable?
No, I was. I don't think I was avoidant with him, but I was guarded. But I wasn't running.
Yeah.
I was guarded, and then actually COVID forced us to put our guards down, both of us, because we had dated for 2 months before COVID.
Wait, I'm sorry. COVID hit 2 months into your relationship?
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
What did you do?
We had to lock down together. And that's when neither of us could avoid. I think he was maybe a little avoidant when we first met. Like now I don't know. I think he's always been secure, but he was intentionally avoidant.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He was like holding back.
He just wasn't trying to have a girlfriend at the time. He was really, focused on his
and so
career.
you had your own apartments, and you like were
our
in each
own
other's
apartments,
bubble.
and we were like, we have to make a decision if we want to see each other. Because also, not only do we have to make a decision if we want to see each other, but we have to also decide that we're not seeing other people,
Right? Because this is COVID.
dangerous.
It's life or death.
Yeah.
Actually, that's insane. That's like the
Crazy.
ultimate test.
The ultimate test.
That really is. That's so crazy.
Wild.
Well, and then going from that, how did you set your relationship up for a healthy marriage? Because you date, how many years did you date first?
We dated for probably 2 years before getting married.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like, what are some things that you did, whether it was intentionally or not intentionally, and then you're looking back and understanding it, to set that relationship up to be a healthy marriage and like a smooth transition in marriage?
I think open communication and just understanding our values and making sure they were aligned. That is so crucial. You have to have the same values if you're going to marry this person. That's the number one problem. I mean, I don't know. You would know because you're the stats person, but cause of divorce is like misaligned values. Like, are you doing the same thing when, I always use this example, but when you both see see $100 bill on the street, like, are you spending it the same way, you know?
Yeah, that's a good test. I like that. I'm gonna ask my boyfriend later. I know what he would do, which is he would like hunt down to the ends of the earth the person who dropped it, and if he couldn't find it, he would like give it to a jerk.
Wait, I know he's a Capricorn. Yeah. When's his actual birthday?
He is December 22nd.
Okay.
Which he shares with his mom.
Oh, it's
which
really
is really cute.
That's
I know
really
it's really
cute.
fun to do like holidays at the same time. But like, I know exactly what he would do, and I don't know if I would like go that hard for it, right? Like, I don't think I would like travel to the ends of the earth to find the person, but I would do my best. I don't think I would pocket it. That's so interesting. I like that test. Well, I guess since it's been like 3 hours and I'm keeping you here and you have a life and a husband and a baby, I guess I want to wrap up by asking a question that is like, can be really broad, but can also be boiled down, which is like, what are some things you wish you knew while you were dating, before you were with Steven, with the one, and like you knew what your future looked like, and before you were even really like a dating expert and had access to all this information? Like, what do you wish you had filed away?
I actually just said this to Steven when we were in a car going somewhere the other day. I was like, I wish I wasn't dating to marry when I was 25.
Why?
Because that's baby territory.
Yeah, because like you're not old enough. You don't know.
Yeah, like because I was dating someone because I thought he would be a good husband, not because I liked him.
Wow.
And so I wish I just enjoyed the fact that I was 25. You know, it's like in Taylor Swift's song So Long London about her ex Joe Alwyn, she says, like, I'm pissed that I gave you all that youth for free. It's like I wish I could articulate it better, but it's more like, you know, these things I know now are great things to know, and I'm so much more knowledgeable as a 34-year-old. But I wish I was a 34-year-old brain and a 25-year-old body so I could just fucking enjoy it and be like, wow, everything is great.
That's so interesting because I feel like I always hear the other advice is like, why are you dating if you can't see yourself marrying that person, right? Like, you should be dating to marry. You should be deliberately dating, but like your frontal lobe isn't developed.
Totally. I wish I could just, when I was 25, I wish I knew that I would meet or run into Steven rather when I was 29. So I could just like basically live my life for
Enjoy
3 years. Yeah.
Like actually just have some fun.
Right.
It's not always a bad thing.
4 years.
To just have some fun.
Enough. Yeah.
That's so fun. And you guys have like a cute invisible string, right?
We do. Yeah.
You met once and then you met years later?
We kind of knew each other, and then we had met, and we were just in each other's orbits for a while because my friend from college went to high school with him.
Love.
And then we ran into each other. Yeah. On New Year's.
I love it. My boyfriend and I have an
invisible string. Yeah, you have an
invisible
string too.
Yeah,
exactly.
Funny. Mutual friends. Lindsey, thanks. Sorry for keeping you for
this was so fun.
The whole afternoon. Go be with your baby, but maybe there's a part 2 for like after you find the one.
I would love that.
Because I think there's so much talk about like finding the one and being your best self and like how to navigate dating, but then you grow up and you find the person, and there's a lot of work that goes into maintaining a healthy relationship and like keeping it alive and keeping it interesting. So maybe there's part 2.
I would love that.
Yeah, me too.
If you want a part 2, comment.
Yeah, comment below. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.